Hello and welcome to another episode of the Complete Agent podcast. My name is David Warburton. I'm joined by my colleagues, James Kendall and Ian Story. James Kendall is on holiday are you in Turkey, JK?
I am indeed, mate. I am indeed.
So basically, every other week, JK and Ian Story go on holiday and they do their podcasts from the sunshine, and I am at home in my office. So you two seem to have the better gig. And what I am seeing, obviously you're listening, what I'm seeing is that JK has got a cap on backwards and he's got massive headphones on that makes him look like he's just about to drop a beat on the beach. It'll be fun.
You're not 25 anymore, James. You know. Well,
and is that a denim shirt? That's a denim shirt, isn't it? He's got a denim shirt on, his cap's turned backwards, and he's got massive headphones on.
This is the Complete Agent podcast, not the Complete Roast podcast.
Fellas, how are we anyway? How's your week been? Let's go to you first. Ian.
Well, very good. I only got back from holiday last night, so my week has been lovely, yeah. I've got a lovely tan. I've been in and out of the pool, eating some lovely food. Joking aside, it's been a very good week at work. Phil has, when I go away, Phil sort of takes over my negotiations on any of my properties. So he's agreed sales on a few this week. Really good stuff, and listed a couple of other good ones. Good vibe in the office, even though it was Easter weekend. Maybe that's why, but even though it's Easter weekend, it's been a good busy week. So, you know, things are good. Literally, as we've started talking, Michelle, who everyone will now know as our sales progressor, has just messaged me to say that a sale's fallen through. The buyer has pulled out for personal reasons, which always does your head in, because what does that mean? And this is the property where we've had this girl offering on it. She's trying to gazump, and I've been saying, no, morally the right thing to do is to continue with your buyers, Mr. Vendor, because now he's like, oh no. So I've got to ring him today and say, the buyer's pulled out. So
yeah, awful calls those, but
it's not our fault, is it? So, no. But no, on the whole, all good. How about you, JK?
Yeah, good. And I must say, mate, you sound a lot better this week. Where's your lisp gone? Did you leave that in Abu Dhabi?
What lisp? What about?
Can you just say for the listeners, super sizzling sausages?
Super sizzling sausages.
So jokes aside, really good week for us as well. Rich has banged in a couple of good ones this week. Had a really good start. We had a listing. We'll talk about it later, actually, on the Q&A, because a really good question was asked. But just had one of those listings where it's been on at 750 for ages, and we've had the odd viewing, and it's not really gone anywhere. And then all of a sudden, we had 2 people offering on it last week. Really, really strange, but you know, amazing result. Really good fee. Then another little tiddler in at sort of 375. Just about to wrap 2 up at one of the new build sites I've got at around 1.1. Listing's pretty good as well. Not so much on the upper end. So we've got 2 that we're about to launch at about 900. Rich has actually launched a nice one at a mill in his home village, which is beautiful, actually. Really, really nice stone cottage, actually. That's really lovely. But no, pretty good. Like, listings, again, pretty good. Our pipeline is getting up to where it needs to be again as well. So, yeah, overall, can't complain, pretty good. And Easter weekend was actually, and we didn't work, but I did a couple of viewings on the Good Friday with a couple of teachers that couldn't view any other time, and hopefully got a back-to-back deal there. But yeah, no, pretty good all round. What about you, Dave?
Yeah, another good week, actually. I think, obviously, you mentioned Easter there. It's the first time, and I popped a little post in our group, but it's the first time that we've properly closed over the Easter break. We'd normally have Good Friday and Bank Holiday Monday off and work on the Saturday, but I chose this year to give the team the whole weekend off. The challenge I have with my team is that they want to work sometimes. It's testament to them, and I love them for it. But they were sort of saying, Kate and Pauline, you know, should we just see what properties come in this week? And, you know, we don't want to miss out on hot buyers and things like that. And I really love that. But I always find that every year, Easter in particular, it's an absolute washout. I mean, we have a we have rentals, obviously a property management business, and I've remembered in previous years when we've had viewings at rental properties, the no-show rate is so high. People just can't. They forget it's Easter weekend and they just don't turn up. They've been out on Good Friday, that kind of thing. So we just took the decision this year to close. It's had absolutely no impact on the business. The team are all refreshed. Me personally, I don't feel like I've had much of a day off for months and months and months. It was really nice to have time with the family over the last few days. So I feel suitably refreshed. But prior to that, I had a couple of great vals last Thursday. And I've started the week with some 2 other great vals, and I'm going to 2 more great vals today. And I've picked up a couple of nice instructions, put one on my page this morning that's going to be coming on soon, which is a cracker. So I'm looking forward to launching that as well. So yeah, on the whole, been a very, very nice week, and looking forward to, like I say, some of these new instructions that we've got brewing. One thing I would say as well, gents, and I know I do always go back to direct mail, but the majority of my stuff again this week is coming from direct mail, and I've posted a couple of screenshots in our private WhatsApp group just showing that the sort of the comments that I'm getting. So I've had a couple of emails this week saying, I received your letter in December. I got an email last night saying, thanks for your letter. I received it this morning. I really like your approach. I'm on the market with X agent. Can you come and have a chat with me? It's on for 890,000. So I just always get a buzz when I get somebody who directly comments on the fact that they've kept my letters, and it might have taken 3 or 4. I'm going to a house this afternoon. It's worth around 1.6 million. They're on the 4th letter. So yeah, exactly. I'm really looking forward to going seeing them. So yeah, I quite like sharing those stories, because even if you're not a member of the Complete Agent, you've just got to be doing direct mail.
Just talking about members of the Complete Agent, I think we should shout out Steve as well.
Yeah,
he's had a phenomenal month. He shared in our private WhatsApp group last night. Was it last night or the night before? But he's had an absolutely cracking month, and it just goes to show, if you consistently send the letters, they will do the work. The compound interest.
He's in for a bumper. I think he's probably in for a bumper 2024. But I think the next 2 years for Steve, it's just going to transform not only his agency but his life. The way he keeps doing things, and it's really nice to hear his positive feedback. But we all know, obviously, having had this journey, that if you just keep doing it and stay consistent, you do get great results. And I feel he's going to really feel the benefits of that more so towards the end of the year. It's going to be one of those. I think at Christmas he's going to look back on the year and go, wow, what a difference.
But when you look at Steve, he's doing everything that we're saying, isn't he? So he's not just banging out a few letters every now and then. He's doing everything. So he's doing twilights on everything. He's doing styling on everything. He's doing lots on social, all the right sort of things in the community. And he's doing all of the things that he should be doing. And he's been sending letters for like 18 months, has he now? Something like that.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's had the best results of our letters this time, which is great to hear. But the building blocks have been in place for a while, haven't they? He's not just suddenly trying to do it. He's been doing it for a while, and now he's seeing the gain.
Yeah. It's all these touch points. We've talked about pre-launch and things like that, but I've noticed I always get a notification when somebody goes live. Steve's always going live in houses and things like that, giving tips. If he's hanging around, waiting for a viewer to turn up, I've noticed he'll go live and just walk people around the house or give a tip for getting your house ready for a viewing. Anything like that, just these touch points. And he's obviously now becoming a bit of a, he's a more well-known figure in his local community, isn't he? And he's feeling the benefits of that as well. So no, I think that's a great shout out, that JK, for Steve. Right, guys, we have been doing our mini series where we
just
started...
before we go on that, can we just cap off on the because I just think there was a good chat in the group the other week about you just talked about having time off, but also about opening and closing times and things like that. I just think there's a little segment we could talk about in terms of like opening times. And I think there's a lot of people that listen that are interested in this in terms of when do you open, when do you close, what do you do, that kind of thing. I just think it might be a good little nugget now just to talk about when we open, how long we open for, and what that looks like. And because I think there's a lot of people that are worried about whether their competitors are going to use that against them. And
I think, do you know what, it was a really good topic of conversation, that, because I think we all have But I remember when I was working in corporate at the time, Purple Bricks came along and Yopers and people like that. And they were massive on, we are open 24/7. We've got this app, people can book viewings, take offers. And all of a sudden you started going, oh, shit. We need to be seen to be open 24/7. And I think one of the things that I didn't think of, like when we set up our 999+VAT agency back in the day, which was an absolute disaster from a financial point of view, but brilliant front end, but for that financial disaster. When we did that, one thing that I didn't really account for when I thought that was the way forward was that there's going to be lots of different software and apps that become available that enable you to look like a 24/7 agent, which was helpful. And you have got lots of different services like your Money Pennies and things like that. They'll answer the phone around the clock. But then as you get into it, and particularly when you start to deal with people mid to higher end, but regardless, it's quite simply about setting the expectations. No one in reality is booking viewings at 3 a.m. and expects to pick up the phone and the estate agent to answer, or even go onto an app and be able to book a viewing and have it confirmed within seconds. I know that we are in a world now where people do want things in an instant and you can get lots of different things very, very quickly. But in our industry, it's a service industry and they want to be looked after. And it's just a nonsense that you have to be open. There's this. We're in this 5 a.m. culture, aren't we? You've got to start work at 5. You've got to be hustling, get your 3 or 4 hours in before anybody's woken up, and all that sort of crap. It's all about setting the expectations, I think, to the client, and they understand and appreciate that. And I've had a client, strangely, in the last couple of weeks, a guy called Phil, and he's got a great house that we're selling for him. And he was saying to me, you need to go on holiday, Dave. You're working too much.
I've literally just spoken to a client who's coming on soon, £1.25 million house, really great guy, class, perfect sort of client, Times reading, ex-business owner, really good guy. And I spoke to him this morning because he's trying to buy the acre field behind the house before we put it on the market. And I was saying, I've just got back from Abu Dhabi, John, and I'm actually going to London tomorrow with the kids. It's Easter here. And he was like, Ian, you are doing exactly the right thing, my friend. This is exactly what you should be doing now. While your kids are little, go and spend the time with them, and they appreciate it. And like you said, as long as you just tell them. So I've been away, obviously, over Easter. But long before I went, I told everyone, I'm going away from this day to this day. I'm back on Thursday the 4th. So if you need to speak to me on Thursday the 4th, you can do. But then I'm off again, 5th to the 10th. And they appreciate it as long as you set their expectations.
It's not like you're a one-man band either. You've got a team there. I mean, someone needs you.
No, Phil's agreed sales on 2 properties that I listed while I've been away, and I will do the same for him when he's away. So as long as you've got someone else that can help, it really, you just got to position it right. We're talking about Saturdays. We're about to trial closing Saturdays. So we were using... their name shall remain nameless. That doesn't make sense. We were using a call answering telephone service up until very recently, a very famous one that we have stopped because they were useless. But we are trialing closing Saturdays. We're going to work with another telephone answering service, like more of a local company, who I think will be better. They'll answer our calls Saturday, Sunday, and we know that most of the calls that come on a Saturday are just people either rearranging a viewing for that day, saying that they're late or they're cancelling, or booking a viewing. That we get all of our feedback the next working weekday anyway. So we don't get the feedback on the Saturday for the Saturday. We're never negotiating offers on a Saturday anyway. All of our offers are negotiated generally Monday to Friday. So as long as you set it up right for the client, I don't think you need to be open.
Just to clarify, though, for people listening, you're not doing viewings on Saturday. You're still the viewings are happening.
We do viewings 7 days a week. We do viewings in the evenings as the weather gets lighter now, because we use outsourced viewing specialists. We do viewings like 8 o'clock at night in the summer if we need to.
But even on that, Ian, which is a great service to offer, don't get me wrong, but even on that, I've seen people post stuff like, I was out doing viewings on Sunday. What were you doing? And it's like, what are you talking about? I understand if somebody's like going away. Like I did have one last week where she said, I'm going to Dubai on Sunday. The only day I can view really is Friday or Saturday. So I'd said to her, I'll come and see you on Friday morning. I actually took my family with me and we went and had some food in the village. So it wasn't a massive inconvenience, but she genuinely could only do that. So we did it. But you don't, I think you can set her off your own back. You don't need to be available 7 days a week. It is simply just managing your expectations and having that structure in your diary. So again, I'm not going to go over it because the mini-series has done that. But, you talk about every Monday or Tuesday, if you've changed it now, you have 1 or 2 hours blocked out for seller contact.
Yeah.
Now, if you're not doing regular seller contact,
then you've got a problem.
Then you might have a problem.
You will, because people, you just will, full stop, won't you? But as long as you're setting expectations and you're in regular contact with your clients, you don't need to be open or available 7 days a week, at all. So, but we're trying. Also, sorry to interrupt. We need to get onto the topic, don't we? But just to quickly say, it's also really good for the team because our team, currently 3 of them, do an alternate every 3rd Saturday.
Yeah.
And then they have a day off in the week, which, no one really wants to work Saturday. So it's better for the team, morale, and I think it'll be better for the client because the team will be happier. And it also means we'll have a more productive week because currently one of them is off on a Tuesday or a Wednesday, and that messes up the working pattern of the week, So I think it's better all round.
All I was going to say on that is that a lot of people, that when we had this conversation in the group, was they're worried about their competitors using it against them.
Mm.
But as long as you're better than all of your competitors,
it
doesn't matter.
You can't
it doesn't
worry
matter whether they're open 8 days a week or 25 hours a day, or they advertise on fishforhomes.com. Like, no one cares. If you're doing a top quality job, it doesn't matter how many more websites or how many more hours they open. If you're the best, would you rather have Cristiano Ronaldo banging in 10 goals and playing 2 games a week, or would you rather have, I don't know, someone from League Two
Danny
doesn't score any goals but turns up every day? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
results.
These football analogies, I'm not quite sure.
Would you rather have Johnny Wilco banging in the tries, or Martin, whatever his name was? I don't know.
Ultimately, you shouldn't be worried about your competitors. If you're worrying about what your competitors are saying about you, then you've got a fundamental problem with your mindset and with your business.
If your competitors are slagging you off, you're doing something right.
Yeah, and mine do all the time, lads. I get it all the time. I've got copies of emails. This one particular, the barn conversion agent that we've spoken about before. I've got copies of emails from clients that he sent them. Really slagging us off. I just think I can go fuck.
Good.
Like, crack on, mate.
Good luck to him. Right, Dave, go on. You crack on, mate.
Okay, so mini-series. We're coming to the sort of close, I think, of the mini-series. But we started with How Do You Look? We've done lead gen. We've done all sorts of things. So if you've not heard everything yet, please do go back. There's a lot of value in there. But today, I think we're going to close it off, lads. But obviously, the podcast will continue, and we'll continue to have some great topics and relevance. And we'll also start introducing some guests. But I think today we're going to talk about the end of that process. So you've completed, what does your property handover look like? And also then, what does your keep in touch policy look like? Because I heard a phrase, I think it was a Tom Panos phrase. He always says that you sell houses and you speak to buyers for 12 to 16 weeks.
Yeah.
And then he says that your buyers and sellers go into witness protection. You never speak to them ever again, which I really like that analogy. And it's true. And how often have you had it in the past? We've all had it. You kick yourself, but you'll do a great service with a buyer in particular who you sell a house, they buy it, move into it, and 3 or 4 years later, you might drive past it and there's a board up with one of your competitors, and you just think, why didn't they come back to us? And it may be that they're just buying through that agent, or they've forgotten, whatever it might be. But if you know very well that if you've been keeping in regular contact with them with anniversary emails and just market updates, then you probably would have got more, at least a look in when that time came around. So that's also a very, very relevant thing to be talking about. So I think we all do similar things, lads. But Ian, I'm going to throw it back to you because you've got some quite comprehensive structure in place at Stories. So I'm going to let you start. We've just completed on a house. Talk to me. What happens?
So it starts before we complete on the house. So we have a form that we fill out with the seller, which goes through all the boring but essential bits of information that you need to know when you move into a house. So when is the bin day? Who's your electricity supplier? What are the neighbours called? Who do you use for your window cleaning? Have you got a handyman? if it's a big garden, is there a gardener? All those sorts of questions that, you know, most estate agents never give to a buyer. So we have a form that the seller fills out that either we go and do it in person with them, depending on the client, if they're old school, or we just do it on an email. And then we give that to the buyers at the house on the day of completion. So we don't get buyers to come to collect the keys from our office. We go and meet them at the house, which has always, well, in stories, not in my former life, but at stories, that's always been a complete no-brainer for me, because quite often estate agency offices are hard to park outside. I've got a cough, excuse me. They're quite hard to park outside because they're in town centres, so that's just a pain in the arse for the buyer. Plus, obviously, it's a really good touch point that you're going and meeting the buyer at the house with the key. It furthers the relationship. It gives you an opportunity to go through the form that the seller's filled out. And then because we have a WhatsApp group with every buyer and every seller, we always say to buyers and sellers that our relationship doesn't finish today, Mr. Smith. You know, we regularly get buyers. I've seen some this week. We regularly get buyers asking us questions. They moved in 4 weeks ago, maybe 6 months ago, but they'll pop a message on the WhatsApp group to say, "Oh, can you just ask John, you know, this question about the house, whatever it is?" And it's a really, really good way to keep your relationship with the buyer and the seller going in perpetuity. We've explored things. Oh, so we also have a moving box as well. I'm sure other agents do that, but we have a moving box that we take to the house. So when they move in, they've got toilet roll, tea, coffee, pack of biscuits, you know, washing up liquid, all those sorts of bits and pieces. I realise a lot of agents do that now, but buyers still are very grateful for it. One thing that we used to do, which we're going to reintroduce, is we have a watercolour painting done of the property. So we have a local artist, I think she only charges 45 quid posted, and she does a watercolour painting. We send her the photograph that we want to be replicated in a painting. She paints it, she puts it in a simple white frame, and we do one for the seller and one for the buyer. And we get her to paint our Stories logo in the corner. And I've been in properties in the last couple of years where they bought the house offers and the painting is on the wall, you know, with our Stories logo in the corner. So that's another really good touch point post sale. We've explored things like, depends how much time you've got, doesn't it? But I don't mean on the podcast, I mean just generally in your busy working day. We've explored things like putting a ribbon on the door, you know, like they do with new builds. Lots of different ideas that the team have floated about the office, but it's just having the time to implement
logistics, isn't it?
Yeah, it's logistics. And also, as we all know, on a completion day, sometimes the seller's still in the house 4 hours after it's completed. So going and putting a ribbon on the door is not, you know,
give me the bloody keys.
Yeah.
This is it. Sometimes you've got really great intentions. Like one thing I would say is, if you don't do it all at the moment, go and try and meet your new buyers at the property. It's really nice. But how many times that you do it though, like you say, and they're still moving out and stuff, and it can be quite awkward sometimes. But you've got to arrange it properly. But that's always the better way, really, than doing a proper key handover. But those touches like getting the meter readings and things like that. I mean,
Dave, before you carry on, to say something. One thing that we always do, generally speaking, on every sale, is we're the person to call the seller to tell them it's completed or to tell them it's exchanged, because their solicitor lets us know and then sometimes doesn't call the seller immediately. So we say to the team, I want you to beat the solicitor at telling him it's completed. I want us first, you know, because they'll go, "Oh, the solicitor hasn't told us." And we'll say, "Oh, well, sorry to hear that, but..."
Yeah, you might want to check with your solicitor.
Yeah.
But I think it has.
Yeah. Or you're ringing the buyer to tell them that their sale's completed when their estate agent hasn't, you know.
Yeah.
Try and be the first to do something.
One thing that's less fluffy with us, but one thing I think about is, what are the most stressful things when you move in house, apart from the actual act itself, is changing over the suppliers and things like that. So you've obviously got utility suppliers, buildings and contents insurers. We obviously have a finance arm. One thing we can help with and try and help with is things like that, making sure that on the day that you complete, you've got your buildings and contents insurance in place, and your utility providers are changed over. So having the meter readings and all that sort of stuff is quite important. So again, if you've got, I know it feels like it's a salesy pitch, but if it's coming from the right place, you are genuinely trying to help. So if you have got a local mortgage advisor that you use or anything like that, it's always worth asking them, have you actually sorted out your buildings and contents insurance? Because we've had it in the past where people have moved in and not set things like this up. I know with mortgages, you've got to have things in place, but it is a useful service to offer. Do you want, like early on, so when we have an exchange month, we look at what we think is going to exchange that month. And one touch point we have is, right, have you thought about these things before you move? You need buildings and content insurance before you move. Have you thought about what utility suppliers you're going to need? Do you need any referrals in regards to moving vans or moving companies, things like that? It's all helpful stuff. And people often do say, oh, shit, I need to get that sorted. And I know there's loads of comparison sites and things like that, but busy people just don't have time. So it's a nice little thing that you can offer. And also, if you're introducing another local business to them as well, that's quite nice. If you're able to say, well, I've got a mortgage advisor. They do life insurance. They do buildings and contents insurance. They can put you in touch with utility providers. We've got a utility broker who can have a chat with you. It's boring stuff, but you need it. It's just one less. It's less things to think about on the day that you move. We just want to prioritize you getting out of your existing home and into your new home. So it's just these. I would just encourage people to think about, if you've moved home yourself, the stresses and the challenges that you go through on the day of moving and leading up to that, and go, right, how can we help these buyers and these sellers move with as little stress as possible? What are all the different things? And some of it will be really boring, like buildings and content insurance and utilities, but it's super helpful to them knowing that it's all taken care of. So I think that's another good touch point that you can have, as well as all the fluffy stuff. Another one that we had, guys, which I thought was brilliant, was something that Kate did in our office. And she'd been speaking to this client about what they were doing and what the plans were for the day. And obviously, what's the one thing that people struggle with when they move on the actual day, because they're moving so quickly? And again, it's something that perhaps goes overlooked. But if you're moving all your furniture in and things like that, you're not likely to have a working kitchen. So they said they were getting a takeaway, and they'd mentioned their favourite takeaway in the area. So on the day, we bought a takeaway voucher for them.
Yeah, that's nice.
So and we thought about doing that quite regularly in the process, finding out what the favourite takeaway was. And when they move, they get a voucher for that takeaway and said, don't worry about cooking tonight. We've got you a takeaway kind of thing.
Really, the takeaway should be paying for that, not you.
Well, yeah.
You know what I mean? You're giving them business, aren't you? Like we did a thing in partnership. There was this guy at Hertford who ran a pub in Hertford, which is the village that we sell quite a lot of high-end houses in. And he's left the pub since, but we did a thing with him where he gave us a voucher. It didn't cost us anything, because obviously he was getting them into his pub, and he like a buy one get one free meal.
High-end clients, isn't he, in his pub?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I reckon there's a way you could do that wouldn't cost you anything.
I think that doing that again, it's another layer. You're also introducing other businesses in the community, particularly if they're moving from outside the area. It's good to say, have a list and say, these are the local doctors, these are the local schools, these are the local takeaways that you might like, restaurants and play centres, things like that. Yeah. All these things that people need. And it's building relationships within your community, and it's helping the clients as they move. It's just another great touch point.
Yeah. JK, anything else from you on the sort of day of moving? Or
the only thing I was going to say is, I think we kind of covered it off in the previous series, was the reviews. Asking for the review on exchange. Yes. But the only thing I would say is that when you do exchange, it's quite a hectic time for a lot of people. We've got to start moving, we've got to book this, we've got to book that. And sometimes those reviews can be forgotten. So on completion, we send them a note in the WhatsApp group, like from the team. Everyone chimes in and says, congratulations, guys, congratulations, everyone, you've completed. And then generally, so Sandra sets a reminder in her diary a week after completion, just to say, hope you're getting on okay. Just a polite reminder, I'd really appreciate your feedback on our services. And then the people normally go, oh yeah, sorry, blah, blah, blah. And then literally the review pops in. Like it's just another touch point, because we send a lot of touch points to them without asking for anything in return. But also, if we haven't had that review, it's just a nice little nudge where they go, "Oh yeah, I didn't do it." Because otherwise, if you don't mention it, it just goes into the abyss.
Don't do it. You need to ask for a review, but then you need someone who's following it up, don't you?
Yeah, just put a note in the diary though. This easy process is that whoever's doing that, they just put it a week later in the diary when it completes. Pop it into like we use Street. Just put a note in the diary the week after at 9 a.m. Completion review or whatever for such and such.
Yeah,
it's nice.
Just pop it in the WhatsApp.
Yeah, that's
just
good.
On that, I know we're going to do like keep in touch policy, but I think with the WhatsApp groups, I think you mentioned it the other week, Ian, actually maybe last week. You leave them open, don't you? And you leave the client.
Yeah.
Because it's so easy for them in a year or two, if they do decide to move or they need some advice, they can just say, "Hi guys, we're thinking of selling again."
And of course, the other way around, it's generally you do it because of the other way around. They quite often forget they've got the WhatsApp, and then in 9 months, you might. Sometimes I'm driving past the house. There's a house from our office here that we sold where they put a lovely porch on the front, and it's probably 18 months since they bought it. But I just dropped a message on the other week to say, "Love the porch, guys. It's looking really good." And they just do not expect it,
Did the response in weirdo?
The response saying, "Stop contacting me, estate agent."
Yeah. We're not moving.
Are you watching?
We actually on the WhatsApp group run. I took a decision a little while back that me and Rich clashed over, probably rightly on Rich's side. That I got the lady that used to work in our office to close a lot of the WhatsApp groups down that are completed, like from over like a year or two ago. Because what was happening sometimes is that, like Sandra, she was going into like give people updates, and then she started to type in the wrong group and was like, "Oh no, I'm typing in the wrong group," like because some of the addresses were really similar. Like you've got a 67 High Street and a 67 High Street, so we would I just had to go in and close down a lot of the groups. Right. I think the solution probably would have been to maybe just take Sandra out of the groups.
Change the name of the group. Yeah, a couple of times we've had ones where the group names have been similar and we just change it somehow.
Yeah.
But keeping them open is, you get the odd person that leaves, but I mean, sometimes it's quite funny, isn't it? Like if a sale's going wrong and we're trying to save it, sometimes like the buyer will leave the group, It's hilarious. You think, so I just add them back in. I say, "Oh, John, I think you just left the group by accident."
Yeah. Where are you going? And then you kick them out.
Yeah.
I think some good stuff there. I mean, again, just to finish on the fluffy stuff, we try and do bespoke gifts as well sometimes.
Nice.
We do. Obviously, I spend quite a bit of time with the people leading up to listing the house. But what you'll find is when the guys are setting up the houses, doing the home styling stuff, you'd start to take more notice of the house. So, like Sabrina will often come back to me and say they love the theatre, or they clearly are quite arty. And then when we come to that point of exchange or completion, we think they might actually really appreciate a more bespoke gift. So we had some artists quite recently. We got them a really nice photograph and things like that. So I think that can go a long way as well, just paying a bit of attention. And obviously the sales progression team will always have a really close relationship with these people for 16 to 20 weeks. So anything like that, I would give a good tip. If you can do something nice and bespoke, particularly for your higher end clients, I think it goes a long way.
I've got an easy one for you that I do is so it's not a painting, but it's a digital illustration.
Of you?
And yes, just me, like pointing towards the camera with their address underneath. I sold your house. No, there's a company. There's a company on Etsy. Have you heard of Etsy? ETSY. Called Harold Home. HAROLD Home. HOME. And you literally send them the front shot or whatever it is you want to do of the house or the back or wherever, and they will redraw it digitally and put like the address and the family name underneath. And it's nice. We did. Why?
Yeah, that's also that. Well, we're laughing because you just told us how to spell Harold and home.
Well, but people listening. Yeah, but last week I don't know because I'm abroad. I might have a list. So someone might be listening to this going, and I go, "What is that?"
No, that's nice, mate. You're right. And something personal to them with your logo on it is good. I think
JK, I like those. I think you should drop an example in our Facebook group.
Okay.
There you
That'd
go.
be cool.
Yeah.
They are nice, those. And
That's
it's also what you're not telling people, I don't think,
FACEDOOK.
unless you didn't. You might have mentioned it then. I wasn't listening because I was laughing at you. But you have them on you, like it's like a wall of fame almost, isn't it? With, like your best results
In my office.
in your office.
Yeah.
I like that.
I
Nice
actually
one.
get.
Oh,
We break a record. We just put it on the wall behind in the office.
yeah. You went a bit silent then, JK. But what you were saying was, if you do break a record on a street or anything like that, you'll put it on in your office. Yeah. Is that correct?
That's right. Yeah.
Good. I like that. I like that a lot.
Shall I just briefly mention our keep in touch policy?
Yeah, so let's move on to that. So keep in touch policy, obviously, we mentioned it before, a great thing that Tom Panos, I think it was, said, that clients generally go into witness protection. I love that analogy. It's true.
I think that's Stephen Brown that said that, actually.
Is it? Sorry, Stephen Brown. You're a legend as well. And I've just...
Maybe it was Stephen Panos.
Thomas Brown.
His Australian cousin.
Stephen Panos Gates. Can we just mention Simon Gates? We've not spoken about him.
Just say his name, and then we won't talk about him. Simon Gates.
Nothing statistical. We just wanted to say the name Simon Gates.
We also haven't said the word street as well.
Oh yeah.
Although actually,
I did a minute ago.
Oh, did you?
I did a minute ago.
And we're about to come on to mentioning that a bit more, I think. So
right. Okay. Yeah. So keep in touch policy. What do you guys do once a sale is completed and we move forward? Let's go back to you again, Ian.
Okay. So one thing that we do. Well, I'll start with what we do and what we're going to implement. So as you know, we're moving from Rex to Street, as that's happening in the background as we speak. And I know that they're bringing in a nurture thing, aren't they? I'm not very good on technology, but they're doing something, aren't they, with that? But we do it more sort of old school at the moment. So we have a spreadsheet of the addresses of the properties that we've sold, and Vicky. One of Vicky's roles is to speak to them every 6 months. So she'll pick up the phone and or WhatsApp them to say, hi, how are things going? Is there anything else we can help with at the moment with the property for you? If we know the name of the dog, name of the kids, any special things that have been coming up, like a wedding or whatever, then we'll mention that as well. And then the same on the 12 month. So every 6 months, some sort of touch base just to say hello, how are things going? I know that one of the reasons that Foxtons in London have been so successful is because of their data mining in the background. And they've been doing it for 25, 30 years, haven't they? Their keeping in touch with clients has been absolutely outstanding, and it's really got them to where they are now. So touching base like that on the phone or on WhatsApp. In the background, one thing that we're going to start doing is more of a nurture campaign. And I think maybe you two could speak about that more, because obviously you're currently using Street, a bit better than I do.
Yeah, well, Streets at the moment, unfortunately, doesn't have that direct API to anything, but I know that's going to change. I think they did at one point with MailChimp, but it wasn't working perfectly, I think Stella said, and it wasn't, no point having it in the end. But what you can do quite easily on Street is export your data into a CSV file. And if you've never done it, uploading your CSV file from a regular desktop or whatever up into MailChimp is dead easy. So once you've got your database of clients into MailChimp, it's so easy to do, and you can set up very basic email nurture campaigns. And what people probably don't realize is they've got a lot of the content already. Like, obviously, we do these podcasts every week. We're constantly sending out new snippets and blogs. It's all there, and it's the same sort of thing. And the most obvious one to do is just on a monthly basis to your entire database is just send them a market update. It's so easy to do. And if you do nothing else, it doesn't have to be an amazing nurture campaign, although that is ideal if you've got various different things every week or 2 weeks, whatever it is. That's obviously ideal. But I think for the clients that you've already done business with, because we're not talking about lead chasing here, it just sticking them in a database. Anniversaries are perfect. Obviously, it's been a year since you sold your home. Are you interested to hear what it might be worth now? That kind of thing. Or congratulations, 1 year in your new home. Hope everything's going well, from all the team at Stories or Bert and James, whatever, James Kendall. It's such a nice touch point, that. And it's one of those ones, oh, that's really nice. I know Perry does the birthdays. I think that's really, really good. He's spoken about it on his group quite a few times. So I really like that. And that's such an easy thing to do if you think about it. It's something we don't do at the moment. But you get the birth dates when you're doing all the the ID checks and things like that. So to just put the birth dates into your system and wish them a happy birthday by a text message, again, these systems that can easily work for that.
Yeah, I mean, and let's not forget that on top of the stuff that we're doing, that we're talking about here, they're going to be getting the NOM. They're going to be getting our Not on the Market letter, aren't they? Every quarter.
Yeah.
So they're going to be getting that touch point as well. They're going to see us on social media. One thing that JK, one of you mentioned, which we're definitely going to start doing, is to set up an auto text when they've booked a viewing or when we're getting feedback from them to say, do you like and follow our page?
Yeah.
So
done that, yeah.
Great. So have you done that?
Yeah, I did it. Yeah, I did it, and JK copied me.
And
Oh, God.
I'm just going to copy all of
yeah,
you, basically.
Yeah.
But
just for clarity, I did copy JK on that.
Okay, right. So that's a great little thing to do, because obviously it gets them to like and follow your page. So then even if they don't buy through you, once they've completed on their purchase, further down the line, they're going to see your stuff on socials as well, aren't they?
Yeah,
We've also set up. Sorry, no, go on.
No, go.
Oh, all I was going to say on that is that we've, and I mentioned him last week, Luke Sinclair. We've just set up with Luke Sinclair on Agent Connect. And what it does is it allows, obviously, the team to chat on the same WhatsApp account digitally on the desktop. But also, it's set up to send out our appointments as well. So rather than us paying 5, 6, 7 pence a text or 5p, 7p a WhatsApp, it works through our system. So it comes in from our WhatsApp. So they get one when the viewing's booked immediately. So they get, and again, it has the social media bit underneath it. They also get a reminder on WhatsApp as well.
Yeah,
and it's just great because obviously WhatsApp, you can see they've read it, and people have been replying to it. So if Matt, Sophie, Sandra, or whoever is logged in, they can see that people have responded. If that makes sense.
Yeah, that's really good. It's just really servicing your data. I think obviously every time you sell a house, they need to go into a nurture campaign.
Yeah.
The person that sold it, and then the person and following them as well. So once they've sold it, not just keeping the buyer and the vendor just on there. You need to follow their house.
Yeah.
So that the house that they bought is in your database as well.
Just thinking about that out loud as well, it just gave me a really good idea that I think I'm probably going to end up doing and building an integration for, is how great would that be? Like with that WhatsApp integration, as soon as the anniversary hits, congratulations, you've been in your house for a year.
Brilliant.
Well, Thingy do that, don't they? Spectre does it.
Spectre does it with the reports, and we've got that set up, anniversaries on Spectre. But how good would it be in your CRM using the open API and connecting that service after a year? Hey, Ian, just to let you know, today's the anniversary of when you completed on your house. Hope everything's going well from all the team at James Kendall Estate Agents.
It would be a great touch. That it would be a great touch.
And it's WhatsApp as well, so you can see they've read it, and if they respond, it just it might start a little dialogue, and then each year that goes by. Bosh. Yeah,
that's great. That's really good. Really good. The reason we'll do that as well as, for me, Vicky and our team doing it, because I think a phone call is obviously
100%. It's a hierarchy of communication.
But to have that in the background doing it automatically, if Vicky has a busy spell and she hasn't got time, then it's happening anyway in the background, isn't it?
Yeah, it's gone.
Yeah.
Basically, I mean, what we're saying here is obviously you've got. Your data is so important. So you're going to have people registering as a new buyer every day on your database and stuff like that. So you should have a decent database of clients. I mean, we've been going since 2016. I think our database is like 15,000 people, something ridiculous. But your buyers and your sellers should be on their own database. So even if you've not got a nurture campaign or anything like that in place right now, my strong recommendation would be that you get your buyers and sellers from day dot really, and get them onto a spreadsheet, because there's a lot that you can do with that spreadsheet. You can pop it into MailChimp very, very easily, and you can set up a very, very basic nurture campaign easily as well. I know that there's some great CRMs that do this automatically, and I'm confident that Street are going to do that as well, and make things a lot more easier. So it's having a keep in touch in policy is very important. I like anniversaries. I like birth dates. Just monthly updates as well. Like I say, just because they sold last month doesn't mean they're not interested in the property market. And just having that touch point every month when you're doing them anyway and you should be doing monthly updates anyway on the property market and quarterly updates, why wouldn't you send them to the people that you've already dealt with? It's not always just about trying to sell to new people.
No, and do you know what? People resell way quicker sometimes than you think they're going to, don't you? I mean, I'm going to a cottage near our office today that we sold back end of last year, and I thought this, and it's really nice grade 2 listed cottage, and the couple that were buying it were like, we're going to be here long term, we love it, it's our permanent home, no kids, it's perfect for us. Rang this week, we're moving abroad with our work, so I need to sell it.
Oh, wow.
Couldn't believe it. And we've got another one very, very similar where they've only been in it about a year and they're selling it 18 months. And that's one of the ones that Phil sold while I was away. Really good modern house, 740 grand. He sold it for at 725. And they're selling it straight away. Only came back to us. So that, you can't assume people are going to be in for 5, 10, 15 years, can you at all?
Yeah, exactly.
You need to dash off, don't you, as well? Sorry, I was just conscious that there was a couple of questions that you could answer before we go on the Q&A.
Yeah.
Are we good to jump on that?
Yeah, go for it.
Q&A wrap up, yeah?
Yeah, no worries. So just two really quick ones that are hyper-specific to you, Story. One, James Banks asks, can we have an update on Ian's finger?
Yeah. Of course, yeah, I'm happy to do that. Always happy to do that. So I'm 6 weeks of having, if you're watching this on video, which most people won't be, 6 weeks of having the little thing on, took it off last week, and it's healing. It didn't flop down. They were misses. So it's healing. Great news. I'm going to keep the thing off a bit longer, James.
And I think we've covered it already, but why did you have Simon Gates asked, why did you have a lift last week on the podcast?
Yes, no idea. I was doing it on my phone. Sort of, how far away is Abu Dhabi? Like 3,000 miles away or something. So
super far away.
Yeah, don't know, mate. Is my answer.
And then one you can answer here, a serious one. Dave Gibbons has asked, what's been your experience with social media marketing over the years, and what are your best tips?
Whoa, that's quite a big question. I think we have already answered that in an earlier pod, but I have hardly spent any money on social media at all since I started the company. So we're going for 5 years now. I bet we've spent less than $2,000 on advertising spend on Facebook and Instagram. So hardly spent anything. Organic from your personal page is the way you should be doing it when you're getting started, certainly, because you can get it into local groups and there's a way better reach of organic posts from a personal page. So you need to be doing local community interviews, which we've recently started up again. You need to be doing advice blogs as well as salesy posts and show-off posts into local groups. Yeah. And what I did was I friended the shit out of everyone in my local area. So even if I didn't know them, I would just go into local groups and add friends to all these people. Half of them accept, and then you're getting your stuff in front of them. And then now I don't do anywhere near as much on my personal page now because the company page gets way more follows. I think they've got 5,000 followers now, and obviously that could be more. But the company does its job really without me needing to do too much. So I hope that helps, Dave.
Can I just add on to that as well? It's not all about likes.
No.
I went to a valuation about 5 or 6 weeks ago, and it's mid renovation. This property, he specifically got us off Instagram and said, "I like how your Instagram page looks." That was it.
Amazing.
He's not really seen us on Rightmove or anything like that. He's not looking. He just follows us on Instagram, and he likes the content that we post. So it is really important just to do it consistently.
Yeah.
Are you good? You should.
Yeah, I will shoot off. Dave's quite right with the word he just used there, which is consistency. So, I mean,
post every day.
One extreme example of someone you should follow is a guy called Gary Vaynerchuk. And Gary is like the king of social media, New York, New Jersey guy who's very, very opinionated. Take him with a pinch of salt. But brilliant. I mean, he gave me a lot of inspiration in the early years, Gary Vaynerchuk. He's one to go and watch.
Oh, God, yeah.
Tom Panos is another one. If you do lettings, I think Sally Lawson's really good at what she does. She puts a lot of stuff out as well. So there's lots of people you could follow to see how they do it as well.
Yeah.
Right,
cool.
Nice to see you, mate.
See you next week,
chaps. We'll carry on.
Thanks, everyone.
Oh, man. See you, mate.
Bye.
So, Dave, shall we just to wrap on? There's a couple more social media bits that I could probably add on to. In terms of your content, I think Ian covered it nicely. Share stuff into local groups, I think, is a big thing for Facebook. But also in terms of uploading your content natively, like if you're not consistent enough to do everything, nail one platform. So nail nail Facebook, nail Instagram, nail TikTok, nail LinkedIn. Like for me, LinkedIn has been the best thing for me. I just jumped on when Microsoft bought it a couple of years back. Jumped on that organic bandwagon, and it's like Facebook 2007 all over again. And I get instructions. A guy added me the other week and said, "Hi James, I need you, specifically you, to sell my house. Please get in touch." And he added me on LinkedIn. Another guy messaged me, "I love what you're doing on LinkedIn. Can you sell this? Can you sell that?" What's that, mate?
Just thinking Ian's left. I really hope he left his laptop on.
Maybe.
Just a private tech thing here, guys, if you're listening. But if he's not, and it's not fully uploaded, then Ian might disappear off this podcast and you might not hear him.
Hashtag no lisp.
Anyway, we'll worry about that.
I can speak in a lisp if it makes you feel better. Anyway.
We'll worry about that issue after.
So, social media we've covered. And there's probably the last one, which Lydia has asked, which I think would be a good thing to cover. What to do when a property is sticking? Despite launching well and the marketing is good, after putting a property online, a whole load more go up in the area too. Common for springtime. What methods do you implement? I change pictures, adjust wordings, any other tactics to raise interest?
Can I be dead straight with this? It kind of goes back to the valuation for me. And we did kind of cover it, I think, the other week. And it's all about setting the expectations. And you'll be pleased to hear me say this, JK, but it's all about the valuation being subjective. Now, if you haven't done everything from a marketing point of view, and there's gaps in your marketing, now we only do it one way, and that is every angle covered. So Twilight, professional photography, videography, copywriters, brochures. So we do pretty much everything that you can possibly do to make a house look outstanding. We have a network of agents, as we know, around the country that we can share our properties with. There are publications that you can go in. So if it's more equestrian and things like that, you can go in Horse and Hound and you can put things in those publications. We have a Lancashire Life over here. So if it's a bit more of got lots of acreage and things like that, you can go in all these publications. I have a relationship with the local newspaper who will do Property of the Week for me, and it'll go on their online page as well. The point I'm making is, if you're doing everything and you're sharing these properties into local social media groups, and you can demonstrate that, and you can show that your video has been advertised and sponsored across Facebook and Instagram, and it's had lots and lots of views, I think you can honestly say to the client, goes back to what I've always said, you can only control three things. How does your property look? Where is it exposed? And how often are you communicating with your client? You can genuinely only control those three things. The rest is down to the market and the subjective value that a potential buyer puts on it. And if it's not selling after a period of time and you've done all these things, then it can only be the market. So I would be having very serious conversations about what is happening with the market, the average prices in the area, etc. One of the most common things I'm finding at the moment, I'm going to a lot of people that are currently on the market with other agents, and in certain areas, the market where I am has been dropping for 3 to 6 months. Nothing significant, but obviously we had incredible rises throughout COVID, and what I'm able to demonstrate, I'll show you this quickly, JK, for the listeners. You won't be able to see it, but like what you can see here is, if I show you that graph there, JK, it goes up through COVID, and then it drops down. Now that's the average prices, but then when I'm showing them the transaction levels as well, it matches it. So what it's suggesting is that buyers are pulling out of the market, and we know that. But my question to anybody would be, are we reporting this? So are we saying that since you went on the market, property prices in the whatever postcode it is have dropped 6%? Are you aware of that? And we talked about this the other week as well, and it was something that was included in our on the market letter. But have you missed the boat, Mr. Vendor? You know, if you wait too long to reduce your price, then you might miss the boat. And what we mean by that is the value that you've put your house on the market at might be unrealistic for that time. And while the market's dropping, if you then decide to reduce 5% further down the line, you might have already missed that 5% bracket. So it might be worth less. So I would be saying to people, really consider what you're delivering to them and how you're delivering it in terms of what the market's actually doing, because it's much easier to get a reduction, or I don't call them reductions when I speak to clients, I call them price realignments. So because you still might get the same result, and I think we're probably going to come on to this, but again, it's all about the pricing points. So if someone's on a, we've had it before where somebody's on the market at 800,000 with a view of hopefully getting around 775, 780. It's not happening for them. It's been reduced to offers in excess of 750, and they've achieved 775, 780. So it's sometimes how you deliver the new pricing strategy. But in terms of I think we all know, of course it can help by changing photos around and stuff like that. But is it really going to massively improve the chances of selling that home for that client? I think 99 times out of 100, it's usually a price conversation, and it's how you're delivering the data, in my opinion. And that's why I'm big on it. I think the market values the property, not you. And as long as you're delivering that information and you've done it properly from day one, it's a much easier conversation. So I know it's difficult to give that advice now, Lydia. You're obviously looking to think, what can I do for this client right now? And you can't go back in time if you've not covered some of these touch points. But I think if it's a tricky client and it's been on the market for a while, I would genuinely look at the marketing for that property. And if you haven't got Twilight, I would say, right, I want to come and do a Twilight shot. If you haven't got a video, I'd say, right, I want to come back and do a video. If you're not on social media with a sponsored advert, I'd say, right, I want to get it on a sponsored advert on social media. If you're not in all the local groups regularly, I want to get it in all the local groups regularly. So you can confidently say to the owner then, we've done all this, and this is my plan, this is what we're going to do. And then if after doing all this, it's still not selling, it's a price conversation, but it's how you deliver that to the client.
So let me just jump in there, mate, and ask you some questions then. So if I sit on the fence of Lydia, let's pretend I'm Lydia for a second.
Mm-hmm.
How long is a long time on the market, and when do you have these conversations?
So it depends what type. For me, it depends what type of house it is. So, we've got a mid-range brand and we have an upper-end brand. Now, on the mid-range brand, I went to a client yesterday and she has a £350,000 house. Okay, some houses around her have been selling at 375, or that's what it's a probate. Her sister said some of them are selling at 375, 380. They're not. They did in April 2022, and we had a look at the figures, and I said, look, if you look at the figures in April 2022, the average house price in the area was X. It's now 9% cheaper, 9% lower. So it's no longer a 375 house. It's a 350 house. You bought it in 2016, and since you bought it in 2016, prices have gone up 51%. This is what I was telling her last night. And that means that on paper, your house is worth £350,000. Now tell me, have you done anything to the house since you bought it? Nothing. We've not done anything. Right. Well, oh no, we've changed the boiler. I said, right, well, that's maintenance. That's not going to add value. That's just maintenance. No. Have you put a new bathroom in? No. Have you put a new kitchen in? No. Right, well, your kitchen and bathroom are 8 years older. So that person that's going to come in and view your property is going to look at it, and their subjective approach might be, well, the bathrooms are tired and the kitchen's tired. It needs new carpets, and I'm going to need to redecorate. So that 350, although on paper I agree with you, is right. I'm going to need to spend 20 grand here on 2 new bathrooms and a kitchen. So my offer's 330. Now, so that's, to me, that's a conversation that's sensible for the market conditions. And as I say, it's the subjective part. And I would be having those conversations probably after 4 and 8 weeks. I would be, I wouldn't be pushing a reduction after 4 weeks, don't get me wrong. But the data doesn't lie. And if you get to sort of 8 weeks in the process, 12 weeks in the process, I would say it's not a reduction, it's a price realignment. And that's the expectation I set with this client last night. I would say forget 375, 380. I can show you 4 or 5 examples where there's stock on the market and it's sticking. And the reason it's sticking is because the other agents are not prepared to tell people that the market's dropped 9% since these were selling at 375. Your house is a 350 house. It's such a basic maths. We can look at the data. And we should try at 350 and get you 350 because that's what the data tells us. What I'm telling you is if this isn't selling in the next 8 weeks, maybe 12 weeks, we need to have a serious conversation about your price realignment. And I think the next price bracket for you would be offers over 325. It's lower than you want and expect. I get that. But what it'll do is take you into a new bracket of buyers. You'll get people looking up to 325. And therefore, you've got a much better chance of selling. A lot of people can extend the budget for the right home. And funnily enough, next door to her had sold at 319, did need a little bit of work, but their marketing price was 330. And I'd said to the client, I said, that might be why it sold at 319, because anybody with a maximum budget at 325 wasn't seeing it. So they might have actually got more money. So, I've probably gone around the houses a little bit there, but it's all very, very relevant. It's the type of conversation you're going to be having. At the higher end of the market, it's even more subjective because there's more liquidity. So more people have cash funds or high-level deposits if they're entrepreneurs or high-level executives. So you might not sell a property for 6 to 12 months, and it depends on the position of the client, I guess. And I've got a property that has been on the market with me for 1 year, and I regularly tell people in valuations, because it's not something that I'm ashamed of. It's not my decision to stay on the market at the level that he's on at. And I actually turn the tables and say, well, it's testament to the team, because I can confidently say that if he was to switch agencies, they're not going to do better photographs. They're not going to do a better video. They're not going to expose it in any more areas than I can. So all you're going to do is have an inferior advert on some of the same websites with less exposure on social media. But it's testament to the team, because the communication with this guy is excellent and he appreciates that. And it's his prerogative. He wants to stay on the market at this level. He's abroad most of the time. Property's sat empty. He's not bothered whether it sells right now anyway. That's his prerogative. So we've got that good relationship. And that's for me what it's all about. It's about just telling the truth, having these honest conversations and giving them context behind why it might need a price realignment.
And it's a niche house, though, that one as well. I think that's important to mention. That
very niche
that house is quite niche. It's not like a Joe Blogs modern 4-bed detached. And just to again double down on what you're saying, I think a lot of people. So I can just think of 2 anecdotal instances where we've talked about data and price realignment. So just to kind of buck everything that you've just said, I have a client that I tried. Really nice guy, looking to upsize massively. We're selling his house was 375. Wanted to try at that, and I said, look, if it doesn't happen in the first week or 2, we need to change the price to my price. And when I say my price, I mean the price I recommended with the market.
Yeah.
So he said, yeah, cool, no worries. Anyway, it was on for a week. We had 1.5 viewings, because the other viewing was an absolute waste of time. And I said, look, we just need to take action now. Offers over 350, bosh. And then lo and behold, we've been inundated with viewings now, and we've got 2 offers on the table, which is great as a result of the price, because it is price point. And the other part of the anecdote I was going to say is I'm helping clients of ours buy at the moment. So as a buying agent, and they're sending me properties on Rightmove that they're looking at and they're interested in. And they're saying, what do you value this at? What do you value that? What do you value this at? And I said, well, you're looking in this area, right? And the average net pound per square foot for houses that have sold in the last 6 months at this value of 2 stories in reasonable condition is this. For 3 stories, it's this. So if you roughly apply that by the square footage you see on the floor plan, that should give you a rough baseline number to work from, so you can see. And it's not that's really helpful. And some of the houses we were looking at were advertised at like 825 and pounds. And I think it's important to mention as well, these are modern homes on estates, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not talking about niche grade 2 listed properties with land. We're talking about large kind of your executive detached family homes that are built by kind of mass builders, but are, big homes. And I think just looking at that pounds per square foot, surveyors are going to look at that, and it really opened their eyes to, wow, okay, so there is a science behind this. It isn't just wet your finger in the air and it's 4 bedrooms, so it must be X. So I was kind of saying to them, look, that's up at 825. The market suggests it should probably be nearer 750. It's been on the market for 8 months. Other things in the area are selling. It's an affluent town. It's a good looking house. The marketing's okay, but it is the price. And the market is, and when I mean the market, I mean buyers in the market. We love to say, well, you love to say valuation subjective, and it's rubbed off on me, but it is super sensitive now. If you don't get the days of 21, 22, where things were flying out the door at whatever price have gone. If the price isn't right, and it isn't a niche grade 2 listed on 4 acres, if it's your average house between, I don't know, let's say 300 and maybe 900, if the pounds per square foot isn't in that sort of remit, what other things are selling for, it feels like the market knows, because there is now, and data suggests, and Zoopla suggests, there is more on the market now than there has been for the last 6 years. So buyers have got more choice. So buyers are much more well informed about prices, which ultimately means that, they can look and see what the market's doing.
Yeah, 100%. I totally agree with everything you've just said. And just to reiterate, it's how you deliver the news. It's not all the way. There's no magic pill. It's just not. It's not just going to happen. Sometimes you just need to have these very frank conversations. And I would think, obviously, like I say, if you're in the first 4, 8, 12 weeks of marketing course, you want to try different things. But just make a simple tick box of everything that you do and can do with social media, with your Rightmove advert, with the actual advert itself. What does it look like, etc. If you've ticked every box, then it's 99 times out of 100, it's going to be a pricing point issue, and it's just educating the people on that. And if you can do that, then I think you stand a better chance of changing the fortunes. Another just dead quick on that one, not to go on too long, but another exercise you can do is almost like a mini reval. So just go on Rightmove Plus. I mean, I use Data Loft, which I love, but if you go on Rightmove Plus, just pick some similar sized houses. So I was looking at one last night I'm going to today. It was on the market in November it was on the market last year for about 6 months at 1.65 million, which is the equivalent of like £400 a square foot. The pound are a bit less than that. And in the area, houses are selling for like 310 per square foot. And the exercise that I've done is I've done a Rightmove Plus report, and I've listed all the different types of houses that are similar in size to him, because when you get this type of house, obviously they're all quite unique and different, but similar sizes. And I've listed all the ones that are not selling, and they're all very similar: 390, 380 per square foot, 390, 380. So I'm going to be going to him today to say the reason that your house isn't sold is A, because the marketing that you've currently got or had, and it really is atrocious, by the way. It is 1.6 million, and it is all on a mobile phone. It is awful. It is awful. But anyway, so I'm going to be saying that, before we look at your price, let's look at your marketing and all the improvements that we can make for it. But ultimately, I will be saying to him, things are selling for 310 a square foot in this area. Now, you can, of course, you can get more. It's not an exact science. That's an average, and we want to try and get more. But I can show you a house here at 2.5. There's one at 2. There's one at 1.8. There's one at 1.7. There's one at 1.5. All of these are unsold, been on the market for months, and all of them have got one thing in common. They're all trying to get 370 to 400 pounds a square foot. And I'm telling you now, for the last 12 months to 18 months, things have been selling for 310 on average. So there's your problem. So it's just how you deliver this and do it with passion and authority. And sometimes, Lydia, as well, if they end up going, it's not the end of the world.
And the other thing as well is you need to work with the right clients.
Yeah.
Motivated clients. So the conversation may well be, in that instance, the house is 1.65. They're on the market for a reason. If they want to realise some equity in their home, they may need to realign their expectations in terms of what it is they're moving to. So Mr. Seller, if you got 310 a square foot and that brought you down to 1.35, what does that enable you to buy? What does that look like? Well, they would be looking at buying 850 instead of at $1 million. Okay, well, which area are you looking at that? And it's taking them through the process and going, well, actually, your expectations are here, but maybe they need to be here, and this is what this looks like, you know, and move forward with a more realistic goal. Because I think the other thing as well is that, you know, you can look at pounds per square foot. It certainly works more for properties where there is a lot of data, but where there, you know, you do have the oddball ones. I mean, I've got one coming on at 5,500 square feet, 16 acres, like stable, like it's got. I mean, it's incredible, to be fair. And you look at the pounds per square foot, and if you value it on pounds per square foot, it's like 2 million. It doesn't work, you know. But when you look at the amount that they've added into it and other homes that have sold, it just, you know, you've got similar homes that are grade 2 listed that have sold for, I don't know, 2.5 million, but they're grade 2 listed and they need everything doing to them. And if you've got a grade 2 listed house in this area that needs, I don't know, let's just hypothetically say 5,000 square meters, right? The average refurb cost in this area is about 2,000 to 2,500 square meter, 2 to 2,500 pounds a square meter. Now you can do the maths in your head there. You know, there's you know, over £1 million worth of renovation potentially that needs to be done in the house, or you even move in. Then you've got one that's brand new here, super high spec. You know, what price do you put on convenience? Because we all know the upper end of the market, people aren't cash poor, they're time poor. They want to buy the house of their dreams to live in, slip their furniture in, decorate, and then move on with their life for the next 20 years.
I think, again, some gems there, JK. I mean, even talking about the cost of refurbishment and things like that. It's just, for me, it's about planting seeds and getting them to think differently, asking the right questions. But ultimately, it will always come down to the same thing. And how was it set up from day one? And obviously, we've covered that in previous pods, but quite a comprehensive answer to Lydia's question. I hope it's helped you there, Lydia.
Yeah.
And thanks so much for pointing them out there. You always do throw questions out there, which is great.
And if you are listening to this while you're sleeping, you are welcome for your bedtime listening. I think that's it, mate. I think we've pretty much covered everything off on the Q&A.
Lovely.
So I think that's it. Perhaps for another week, it's time for me to go down to the beach and
gutted.
lay on a sunbed. # pray for JK.
Yeah, I've got a nice valuation later on today at that £1.6 million, which I was telling you about. I'm very excited about that, and I'm about to leave and go and do a take on a nice £500,000 house, which is really nice. I'm going turning up, doing my speaking parts for the video, and I'm going to shoot off.
Nice. Well, $500,000 to $1 million at 2%. That's where the gold is.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. Right, guys. Well, yeah, thanks so much for listening. If you have any further questions for next week's podcast, I think that's probably the end of the mini-series. But as I say, we're going to continue to do these every week. We're going to remain consistent. We've got loads of stuff to share. We'll start to bring some guests on. But do the usual: share, like, subscribe, comment, and of course, join the Facebook group. And if you like what you're hearing, and if you're interested in getting involved in the Complete Agent membership, please reach out to myself, James Kendall, or Ian Story, and we'd be more than happy to talk you through it. But we're getting great results. But the guys that are with us at the moment are doing really well. And if you want a referral from any of them, I'm sure that they'd be happy to give it. So, yeah, thanks for listening, JK. Enjoy your sunbed, and we'll see you all next week.
Yep, see you next week, guys. Thanks for listening.